Okay, and the next we are performing some constellation mapping, whether it is BPSK, QPSK, QAM, whatever it is. So we have serial to parallel converter to facilitate all these carriers. Okay, so each and every parallel stream will be modulated with a specific carrier, and all these modulated streams are summed together and produces a composite signal that is your transmitting signal. So this is a basic uh, block diagram of a multi-carrier communication system. May I know, are you able to? Yeah. Are you following what I'm saying? Yeah, can I get any responses?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Are you able to see the content in these slides? The letters?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir. It's visible, sir. Visible.
Thank you, sir. So this is okay, how it is expanded, how it is extended to OFDM. Okay, we will see step by step, and then at the end we will take a standard, and based on that standard we will try to implement it that in the pipeline. Okay, so try to observe this table which I have prepared, which will give a better visualization in all the point of views. See here, this is a time, TB, 2TB is a time axis, and these are the carriers, and these are the number of symbols. So 1, 2, 3, 4, this is a symbol index. So this is your complete data, a 4 by 4, that is 16 bits are there. When we give that data to serial to parallel converter, okay, so this 16 bits will be converted into 4 parallel streams. Okay, each stream will be having 4 bits. Okay, so this first row, this is the first row. This is the first row is having 4 bits, second row, and third row, fourth row. So this complete 16 bits are arranged in the 4 by 4 matrix form. Okay, so each and every column, if you see each and every column is being transmitting with a specific carrier C0 and C1, C2, C3. So this first column will be modulated with C0 and second column will be modulated with C1, third column is modulated with C2, fourth column is modulated with C3. And if you see this below block diagram, so whatever the data we are taking from these columns, individual columns, okay, so this data is being modulated with C0 and this is with C1 and this is with C2, C3. A, B, C, D's are the resultant 4 parallel modulated data streams and we are giving it to the summer. Okay, the summation will be performed. This X will give the transmitting signal. X is equal to A plus B plus C plus D. And same thing in general OFDM, whenever we are writing a program for OFDM, we will use FFT, simple FFT, IFFT. Okay, you see here, if you observe this data in the row wise, okay, so in the below block diagrams, what we are doing, column wise data is being taken and that data will be modulated with individual carriers and resultant modulated waves are summed. And if you see row wise, so if I perform, okay, if I perform IFFT on this row, IFFT on this row, IFFT on this row, IFFT of 4 individual rows, and if you IFFT of this first row is X1 and second row is X2, third row is X3, fourth row is X4. If you arrange all these symbols X1 and X2, X3, X4 side by side or you append, so X will be the transmitting signal. So both will give the same. So this is the one way of representation. Okay, this is it is nothing but when we are modulating with a carrier, it is equivalent to your inverse DFT operation or inverse IFFT operation. Okay, so if you work with the row wise, so this X1 and X2, X3, X4 are simply IFFT operations on these. And if you see the column wise, okay, we will perform individual modulation, C0 into S0 plus C1 into S1, like this. So all these IFFT outputs are arranged like this. So that is nothing but your transmitting signal. So that is why, so this multi-carrier communication system block diagram is changed to this shape. So data, constellation mapper, serial to parallel converter, and then IFFT block. Okay, so now coming to another block, everyone knows, that is CP, cyclic prefix. Okay, so before discussing about this cyclic prefix block, okay, so we will see the channel effect. Okay, so when you are transmitting a signal, whether it is discrete or it's analog, okay, so this X of n is being transmitted through the channel and you will receive it as a Y of n, okay, and the Y of n is a convolution of X of n and H of n that everyone knows. Okay, so in the transmission process with the channel effect, okay, the signal will be affected and it is spread in the time domain. So 0 to TB is the signal duration, and here the channel impulse response of the channel duration is from 0 to tau. Okay, the resultant signal will be from 0 to TB plus tau. The signal will be spreaded in the time domain. Even if you rewind your simple convolution operation, if X of n is having length L and H of n impulse response is having length M, so Y of n, the filtered output or convolved output, will be having length L plus M minus 1. The length signal, output signals will be spreaded in the time domain. So that spreadingness will cause us automatically inter-symbol interference. Automatically this will spread to the other symbol because we are fixing our symbol duration to TB, but this signal is being spread to TB plus tau. Okay, so forget about the attenuations and all these factors. Just you look into the spreading nature of the transmitter signal. Okay, so that is completely depends upon the multipath propagation model. In the just previous presentation we have seen. Okay, so how many ways are in how many multipaths the signal is being received. Okay, based on that, the channel spreading factor also will be defined. Okay, impulse response of the channel also will be increases based on the number of paths it is being transmitted. Okay, so suppose if you take a Wi-Fi network, Wi-Fi wireless LAN network, the number of multipaths may be less than 10, or in a room if you consider less than 10 or less than 8, like that. So we will, so we will now discuss about this cyclic prefix concept. So to avoid that inter-symbol interference, generally we need some guard band. Okay, so these are the original data streams. Okay, X1 is one symbol, X2 and so on, Xk. Okay, so due to the spreading nature of the transmitting signal with the effect of the channel, okay, the signal will be spreaded into the other symbols. So that is why we are inserting some guard band between each and every symbols. Okay, so this instead of inserting guard band, okay, if we insert the data, same data, suppose if the symbol X1 is there and the last few samples, if you are arranging in the starting of the symbol, that is cyclic prefix. Instead of putting a guard band, what we are doing is we are taking some portion of the last few samples of the same symbol and we are appending at the starting of that symbol. So that is the cyclic prefix. And what is the advantage with that cyclic prefix? So as so this is an example to understand the cyclic prefix advantages in better way. You see this one. So X of n is a time domain. Suppose X of n is a sequence 1, 2, 3, something like that. H of n is having H of n is impulse response of the system. If you see the sizes of these two, so signal length will be very high compared to the channel impulse response. You treat this X of n as a signal and H of n as a impulse response. And when we convolve these two, so this is the convolved output. Okay, so the length of this signal will be expanded. So here there are total 8 samples in the input sequence and 4 samples impulse response, and our output, convolved output will be, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 4 plus 12 minus 1. And you can also see, yeah, this CP example. Yeah, one moment. Okay, are you able to access all these files? May I know, have you tried this? The files which I have uploaded with the link. Yeah, can I have the responses? Are you able to access these files? Yeah, it is taking some time. However, we'll see here. Okay. So this is a convolved output. Okay. And if you perform cyclic prefix, okay, so the same data, if you observe this 14321 so this is your original data 14321 so this last 3 samples, the last few samples, okay, are cyclically prefixed, okay, appended in the beginning of the data stream, that is this 312, okay, again appended as a prefix to this data, so 312 followed by 143, the same data. And yeah, so generally, so if you transmit the signal through the channel, so output of the channel is convolution of H of n and this data. So now this data is cyclic prefixed data. Okay, if they perform linear convolution, there will be a linear convolution between these two. Okay, so this is the transmitted, this is the output from the channel. Now, if you observe this data, and if you want to interpret the same in the frequency domain, everyone knows convolution in the time domain. Suppose in case of it is DTFT or continuous time Fourier transform, convolution in the time domain is equivalent to multiplication in the frequency domain. But in case of here, we are dealing with the discrete sequences and discrete samples. Okay, so this convolution will not be the multiplication in the frequency domain. If you observe the properties of DFT, the convolution in time domain is not equivalent to multiplication in the frequency domain. The circular convolution in the time domain will be equivalent to multiplication in the frequency domain. So that is one of the property you have to note DFT property, that is convolution property. So circular convolution in the time domain will be equal to multiplication in the frequency domain. So now see here, so if you see this data, whatever the linear convolution data is there, okay, linear convolved data is there, 6 to 10, this data, very spreaded in the time domain. Okay, if you observe these samples, if you observe these samples, so this data is nothing but the circular convolution between X of n and H of n. So if you remove the first three samples and the last three samples, so for this example, if you remove this data and this data, so whatever the resultant data is there, that is a linear circular convolution between this signal and this signal. So if it is a circular convolution in the time domain, automatically in the frequency domain, it is simple multiplication, x of k into h of k, multiplication in the frequency domain. So automatically when it is multiplication in the frequency domain, okay, x of k into h of k, so each and every sample will be affected by only a frequency response of your filter only at that tap, that location, kth location. So y of k is equal to x of k into h of k. So y of k, the kth symbol will be affected by only y of h of k. Suppose y naught is there, that is the first symbol, first sample output. So y naught will be affected by only x naught and h naught, not all the remaining h's, h coefficients, filter coefficients. Okay, in the previous case, if it is not circular convolution, it simply is linear convolution. What happens is this circular convolution will be in the frequency domain. There will be a contribution of all the coefficients to each and every symbol. So here what is happening? So each and every output symbol or sample will be affected by only at that instant of filter and input data. So this way, this way of interpretation also will give that there is no inter-symbol interference. Okay, or your channel will act as a flat fading channel instead of frequency selective fading channel. So if you insert cyclic prefix instead of guard band, okay, so that will be acted as flat fading channel instead of frequency selective fading channel. So this is a way of representing the cyclic prefix data. X1 is a symbol. So instead of taking guard band, what we are doing, we are taking some portion at the end of the symbol and inserting in the starting of the symbol. So now the block diagram will becomes like this. So data, constellation mapper, CL to parallel converter, and then IFFT followed by CP. So this will be the WaveDM signal. So this is a modified block diagram, okay, with the introduction of CP. So now coming to the WaveDM, entire WaveDM block diagram. So this will be the complete WaveDM block diagram if you observe, and I'm not considering any channel coding here. Okay, so uncoded data. So data is DN, the first constellation mapper, then serial to parallel converter. So the data will be split into parallel streams. Okay, then endpoint IFFT will be a performer, so that each and every symbol will be assigned with a specific carrier. Okay, then parallel to serial conversion. After assigning the carrier, parallel to serial conversion, then followed by CP. Okay, the symbol length will be expanded. However, next, so at this moment, so to transmit through wireless channel, so we're converting D2A. We are using D2A converter. Okay, so this discrete data, this discrete signal will be converted to analog signal. Okay, and the signal will be transmitted through this space. And we are assuming that some noise will be added to this one. Okay, and the reverse process, the reverse process to the above will be done to get the transmitted data back. First, D2A converter and removing the CP cyclic prefix and serial to parallel conversion and FFT. And here we'll perform equalization because to avoid the channel effect and noise. Okay, so we will get the channel information from various techniques. Okay, so based on that channel information, we at the time of transmission, we also send some pilots to get some channel information. Okay, in that way, we will get some channel information. So after getting this channel information, we will perform equalization, simple equalization. Suppose if you take a simple frequency domain equalizer, in the transmitter side, Suppose y of k is equal to h of k into x of k. Okay, now this y of k will be equalized with h of k, y of k by h of k. You will get h of k. It is the equalized data. Okay, so parallel to serial converter, constellation B mapper. So this is your virtual data. So this is a complete block diagram of a simple, a basic OFDM block. OFDM block. So now coming to the frame representation of an OFDM. So if you take one OFDM symbol, so if you look at this block, okay, so x-axis is the time, y-axis is frequency, okay. So these are the carriers we are using. Suppose we are transmitting n data streams with n different subcarriers. So this block is with carrier 0, carrier 1, and so on up to carrier n minus 1. So this vertical axis will give us a carrier index. The first carrier, second carrier, third carrier, and so on, the last carrier. When you are using total NC carriers are there. And this is the symbol duration. Symbol duration of each and every OFDM symbol. Each and every OFDM symbol will consist of all the carriers. All the carriers. If you look at this example, yeah. If you look at this example, suppose here x1, x2, x3, x4 are the symbols, OFDM symbols. If you observe any one of these, x3 is nothing but IFFT of these data points. 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, or I can say S0, S1, S2, and S3. So in which all the carrier information was there. Okay, so each and every symbol contains all the carrier frequency, all the carrier information. So if you look at this block, so this is the symbol duration, and these are the carriers which are presented 0 to NC minus 1, total of NC carriers. Now, these symbols will be transmitted as a group based on the application or based on different standards. Okay, all these symbols will be transmitted as a group. So we will look at in terms of frames, OFDM frames. So this is the first symbol, second symbol, and total NS symbols are there from 0 to NS minus 1. So this block will be called as OFDM frame. The frame duration will be NS times the symbol duration because there are total NS frames are there. Okay, and this is the bandwidth remains. Okay, so this is a representation of OFDM frame. Okay, so in the MATLAB also you can generate. Okay, so see here. So these are the carrier indices, subcarrier indices from 0 to 64. Okay, suppose if I go with the 64 multi-carrier communication system. Okay, so n point FFT is n is 64, and these are the symbols. 100 symbols are there. So total 100 symbols, and this is how the data will be arranged. Okay, so suppose if you take this colored representation, all blue colored blocks will represent the data because we are not transmitting the data on all the channels, all the subcarriers. Okay, so some of the subcarriers will be left intentionally, and through some of the carriers we will transmit pilots. Okay, so if you see this green colored blocks, okay, so this 11th 12th subcarrier, and this suppose 28th subcarrier, and this 54 or something like this. Okay, so will be used to transmit pilot symbol. There are 4 subcarriers are there which will carry pilot symbols. And if you see these blue blocks, okay, nearly in the beginning it may be 5, or in the end it may be 6, as your wish you can give. So first 5 and last 5, 6 are the unused subcarriers or guard bands. We are not using them for the data transmission. Okay, so this is how a OFDM resource block look like, or a OFDM frame look like. And if you see this null carrier at the DC carrier, we will not transmit any data. So this block will give you information about there are total 64 subcarriers are there, and which is with 100 symbols. So this WebDM frame consists of 100 symbols, and at each and every symbol contains 64 carriers in it. So this is a WebDM resource block. How we are assigning the So we'll see how we are assigning the resources to the data. This is resource block, WebDM resource block. So in what way we are assigning the carriers to data, and which carriers are carrying data, which carriers are carrying pilot symbols, and which carriers are left intentionally. Because WebDM has a lot of, not a lot of, some disadvantages are there. That is spectral leakage. Okay, the spectrum will be leaked into other band. So that is the reason why we will place some guard bands for the initial carriers and the last carriers to not spread this spectrum into other bands. Okay, so this is how this resource block will give you all the information. Okay, what are the carriers which are carrying the data, pilots, and unused carriers. Okay, so now coming to the example, design example of 802.11a. Okay, up to this, is it clear to everyone? May I know can I get the responses? Are you following or not? Can anyone respond, please? Yes, Chandrasekhar sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm there. I'm there, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. We are following, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, see this. So if you take a standard here now 2.11. Yeah. So for WLAN, wireless LAN, so this is a band as given, that is 20 megahertz band. The standard defines these two parameters, only these two parameters. That is 20 megahertz band is given, and the number of subcarriers that are suggested is 64. Recommended is 64. So from these two parameters, we can derive all the remaining parameters. What should be the symbol duration? What should be the cyclic prefix length? How many number of bits we are getting? All these things. See this one. So if the bandwidth is 20 megahertz, okay, so the symbol duration simply you can calculate with the formula TS is equal to 1 by B, that is equivalent to 0.05 microseconds. Yeah, someone is trying to speak. Yeah. So now with this bandwidth, if you transmit with a single carrier or a serial data, okay, so the symbol duration will become 0.05 microseconds. The 0.05 microsecond is very small, okay, and that may lead to a lot of intersymbol interference. Okay, so this is with serial data transmission, symbol duration for the serial data transmission for the given bandwidth. So now we are using 24 subcarriers. So there are total 24 subcarriers. So bandwidth for each subcarrier, you are going to get 20 megahertz by 64. That is nothing but 312.5 kilohertz. 312.5 kilohertz is the bandwidth which is allotted for each and every subcarrier. From that, you can calculate the symbol duration. Because we are transmitting all the symbols, all this data in parallel. Okay, so bandwidth for each subcarrier is becoming 3.25 kilohertz, and the symbol duration, corresponding symbol duration becomes 3.2 microseconds. The symbol duration, the serial data transmission was 0.05 microsecond, and in this case, it is 3.2 microsecond. The symbol duration is expanded. Now coming to this, what is that cyclic prefix or guard band? So in general, cyclic prefix length will be chosen as, some surveys are there, some surveys or some suggestions from the standards that are giving this. So cyclic prefix length will be chosen, symbol duration generally that will be recommended. So if TD is the symbol duration, so 1/4 of that is 0.8 microseconds. 3.2 microseconds by 4 is 0.8 microseconds. So for this, we are choosing the cyclic prefix duration length as 0.8 microseconds. So the total symbol length will becomes 3.2 microseconds plus 0.8 microseconds will give you 4 microseconds. So first 0.8 microseconds are for CP and the remaining 3.2 microseconds is for data, okay, put together. So each and every wave stop 4 microseconds. 4 microseconds will be the duration for OFDM symbol. And coming to the number of samples, when we are discrete, we are transmitting a continuous signal through the space, okay, and at the receiver side, when we discretize again, okay. So how many symbols we are going to get, how many samples or how many bits we are going to get? We will see all this numerology. Okay, the sampling frequency is Fs is chosen for discretizing OFDM. So Fs is nothing but 1 by TS, that is 20 megahertz. So in general, whatever the bandwidth you have chosen for this type of band pass data transmission, okay, 20 megahertz bandwidth is a sampling frequency is chosen as 20 megahertz. So 20 mega samples per second. Okay, so 20 megahertz sampling frequency are chosen for discretizing this OFDM signal. Okay, so now we will calculate all the numerical values of each and every segment. So with the sampling frequency 20 megahertz, okay, and the symbol duration is 3.2 microseconds. Okay, so into Fs 20 mega samples per second will give you 64 samples. Each and every OFDM symbol consists of 64 samples. Okay, because if you are using this sampling frequency of 20 megahertz, in the duration of 3.2 microseconds, you are going to get 64 samples. And similarly, coming to the cyclic prefix, in the duration of 0.8 microseconds, frequency, you are going to get 16 samples. So 64 samples are the data samples, and these 16 samples are cyclic prefix samples. So put together 80 samples. So your 4 microseconds of OFDM symbol consist of 80 samples, out of which 64 samples are the data samples and 16 samples are the cyclic prefix samples. So this is this this diagram you can see. So in the 0.8, this is a one OFDM symbol. Okay, so in which, so in 0.8 microseconds, you will be having 16 samples. And in the remaining part, 3.2 microseconds, you are having 64 samples. So in the total 4 microseconds duration, each OFDM symbol consists of 80 samples. Okay, so from this standard, okay, from the given parameters, from the given two parameters, that is 20 megahertz bandwidth and 64 subcarriers. So these are the derived parameters. Now you can go for programming. You can go for designing a OFDM system. Okay. So, and coming to even, you can also calculate symbol rate and data rates. Okay. So symbol rate with cyclic prefix RB1 is 1 by TS1, which is equal to 250k kilo symbols per second. Okay, symbol rate without cyclic prefix, that is 1 by 3.2 microseconds. If you calculate the data symbol rates for this and this, so this will comes around 3.25 kilo symbols per second. And similarly, you can also calculate bit rate, because each and every symbol consists of, suppose we are using BPSK modulation. Okay, so 1 bit per carrier will be there. Okay, so these are the derived parameters from the given standard. So the given two parameters, that is bandwidth and the number of carriers. Okay, so total number of samples per symbol are 80, out of which 64 are data samples and 16 are cyclic prefix samples. Okay, total number of carriers are 64. If the constellation BPSK, so there will be a 1 bit per some carrier. Each and every symbol carries 1 bit. Okay, so and coming to the carrier assignment. So we are not using all the carriers that will be decided by the standards. 48 will be the data carriers. Okay, and the 4 will be the virtual to carry the pilot symbols, pilot information. And the 12 are unused. Those are the guard bands we have used at the time of beginning and end of the frame. So this 12 means first 12 are unused. Yeah. So including the DC. So here the 5 carriers are unused, including DC, total 6, and last 6. So these 12 are unused. Yeah. So now if you want to see the usable data rate, because these are 64 are not carrying the data. So only 48 are carrying the data if you want to see the data rate. So 48 carriers per symbols are there and 1 bit for carrier, and symbol duration data rate is 250 kilo symbols per second. Okay, all put together will give 12 Mbps of data. And bitrate for the pilot carriers alone. Okay, so 4 carriers per symbol. Okay, and 1 bit per carrier. Okay, so 250 kilos. Sorry, this is a mistake. Not it is. Yeah, 250 kilos symbols. Okay, so we'll give you 1 bit, 1 Mbps. And similarly, overall data rate 64. And can you verify if anyone is interested to verify? You can verify this. If there are any mistake, we can rectify that. So overall data rate 64 carrier per symbol, 1 bit per carrier, 250 kilo symbols per second will give you 16 Mbps. Okay, so these two terms will be by mistake. Okay, this is not me. Yeah, symbol rate with cyclic prefix, and this is without cyclic prefix 3.2.15 something like that. So at least you can verify, and you can cross check these values. Okay, and these are some results. These are these. Okay, so now we will enter into Okay, so thank you. Yeah, the same parameters we have chosen, and this is a generalized program. I'm not in detail written the program that is only by using the object, some objects in the toolboxes directly. I have called those functions. Yeah. Okay, or you can also write for this. Suppose we are using a BPSK modulation or QPSK, or you can write your own modulation techniques here. Just I wanted to show you that model 802.11a. So this already predefined objects are there in the real versions, even in 2018a. You can find all these modulators. QA modulator, and however, we will see visual flags. Okay, so this is a generalized program. Okay, so where you can check all these parameters. See here, FFT length is 64, and number of data carriers is 48, and number of FDM symbols are 100. The same result which I have shown earlier. And cyclic prefix length, you can also mention cyclic prefix length here. Okay, yeah. So here also you can see FDM modulator block is there already. So where you can define FFT length, number of guard band carriers and their locations. Okay, number of guard band is 6 in the initial or in the starting and 5 at the end. Insert DC carrier or not. If you are interested to insert DC carrier or not, you can give the options. Pilot input if you want to insert the pilots. Okay, so this is the pilot arrangement. 12 to 26. Sorry, not total. Only 4 pilots are there at 12th subcarrier location, 26, 40, and 54. So at these locations, the subcarriers will be pilots will be inserted. So if you see resource grid for this, okay, you are going to get, we'll give the complete information about that. Okay, so 1 to 64 total. First 6 are the guard bands. First 6 subcarriers are not used, and last 5 are chosen as guard band. Even these 5 also not used. And the pilots, which are represented in green blocks, okay, at 12, 26, 40, 54. So here at 12, 24, 26, 40, and 54. Okay, and you can also see the Viridium transmitted data. There is total, how many symbols are there? 100 symbols are there. Okay. Yeah, 100 symbols into 64. Okay, so 6,400. Okay, total samples will be displayed as a time in the time domain representation. So this is just overview to see the resource grid. You forget about this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, wait a moment, it will take some time. Yeah. Transmitting symbol if you want to see the spectrum. Okay. Yeah, see this one. So for the same specifications, okay, number of carriers are chosen 64. Okay, cyclic prefix length is 16. Okay, and this is a carrier assignment. Okay, total 48 are data carriers, 4 are virtual, and some unused carriers are there. And subcarrier assignment. Okay, we will also consider subcarrier assignment. We are not directly, as shown in the resource grid, we are not assigning the subcarriers. Okay, so like this, suppose if you consider. Yeah. So this is the arrangement of subcarriers. There are various techniques are there for the subcarrier assignment. Okay. So see, if you see the 64 subcarriers. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's the same way. The first 6 subcarriers are not used, and this the middle one is this is a subcarrier, and the last 5 are not used. So this is the assignment of subcarriers for total 64 subcarriers. Okay, so you can see here. So 48 plus 2, only these 4 are carrying, 52 are carrying the data. Okay, so remaining 12 are unused. So one is a DC, and the remaining 11 are in the guard band. So out of 64, only these 52 are carrying the data, out of which these 4 are for pilot data transmission. Okay, so now here, suppose it is BPSK. Okay, total bits are 52. Okay, this is a carrier indexing. We perform PSK modulation. Random. You will be getting random numbers, random digital data. Okay. With the length of this 52. So actually we will need a 52 digital data stream. For one symbol if you want to plot. BPSK modulation is being performed. Okay. And you can also see this data by plotting BPSK data how it is. So this is a data zeros and ones, total 52 bits. Okay. Pharma bonds, zero data stream. And below next how we are mapping it to a BPSK plus 1 and minus 1. Okay, so 0 will be mapped to minus 1 and 1 will be mapped to plus 1 like this. Okay, so this is the original digital data stream, binary data stream, and this is a BPSK modulated signal. Okay. And here, subcarrier assignment will be taken. Okay. So we are arranging the data in these locations, BPSK data in these locations. If you see this indices values, you can see in the workspace, you can see the locations. Okay. And this is our IFFT case. And just for your experimental purpose, you need not to shuffle this data. You can directly apply IFFT and you can see the CP and you can see the channel effect, and at the receiver side, you can reverse that whole process. Okay, so this IFFT shift operation or this subcarrier assignment. So we are assigning the data to these carriers, whatever the carrier assignments are shown. So we are arranging the 52 data points. Okay, so first 26 data points to these 26 carriers. If you observe, so first 5 are the unused carriers. 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. First 6 are the unused carriers, and for the next 26. Okay, for the next 26, we are assigning 26 data points, and the next one is DC, and the remaining 26, not remaining, the next 26 will be assigned to the next 26 data points, and the last 5 carriers are unused. Okay, this is how we are arranging it. Okay, so after the arranging the data in those locations, after we are arranging the data in those locations, okay, simply by applying the inverse FFT, IFFT operation. IFFT of BPSK data, NC the number of carriers, even you did not mention that. Okay, automatically this will perform OFDM modulation. So this will be the modulated data. Okay, you can see the modulation data over here. That is figure 3. So this one. So total 64 samples, IFFT data you can see here. So now next part is cyclic prefix. Cyclic prefix data, what we are doing is, from the modulating data, from last 16 samples, end minus CP length plus 1 to end, last 16 samples we are taking from the modulated data and we are appending in the beginning of that. Okay, so if you look at this second plot, okay, the first one is the samples of all 64 samples which correspond to 64 carriers, and what we are doing is we are taking these last 16 samples. By taking these last 16 samples and appending the beginning of the data. So if you look at the nature of these amplitudes, okay, you can find how this last 16 will be appended in the beginning of this data. As even by looking at the data also you can see what is this MARD sequence with CP in the workspace. Okay, MARD sequence with CP is this one. Okay, you can see the size of that 1 by I 80 complex value, because when we are applying IFFT inverse fast Fourier transform, automatically you are going to get a complex value. Okay. So this, if you observe these data points, first one is something like that minus 0.1563. Okay. So which will be located, or which will be equal to, what is it? 64 minus this is wait a minute. This is the last sample. Okay. And from this end, okay, we're considering the last 16 samples. So in our total 16 samples. Okay, 64. Yeah, 1 moment. Okay, so MARD sequence. End of is nothing but 64 minus 64 minus 16 plus 64 minus 17. So 64 minus 17. In that location, 47 is the location. Okay, you are going to get this Okay, first sample. 47th. Okay. So this will be your starting one. Yeah, again here you are getting abused with indices values. Okay, so 47 again plus 16. 53. However, okay, so these last 16 samples, the last 16 samples will be appended in the beginning of this data stream. Okay, so now in the second figure, if you see this, so the length of this data stream will become 80 samples. So this first 16 samples are taken from the last portion of this. Last portion of this. So now here you can observe these three, yeah, these three samples. Okay, so here you can observe these three samples here, followed by the data. So are you able to see this? Okay, from this point onwards, you can see the same data. Same data will repeat up to this, means up to this point. Yeah, one moment. Yeah, that's one moment. See this one. So this last 16 samples, the last 16 samples are appended as a beginning to this. If you observe these two data, both are represented in red are same. Okay, this is what cyclic prefix. Okay, so the last 16 samples are appended in the beginning of this data stream. So the total data will become 80 samples. Okay, yeah. So after performing cyclic prefix, what we are doing directly we are transmitting through the channel. And here we can consider some random channel, okay, with caps 10. Okay, so this is a frequency response of that channel. And what we are doing is simply convolving with this channel. That's it, convolution of T transmitting signal with channel impulse response. So you will get a transmitting signal, that is Y, spreaded signal in the time domain. Okay, so you can also see that data, that is figure 4. Okay, so because your input data stream is of 80 samples, okay, and your channel impulse response is 10 samples, okay, so total data length is becoming 10 plus, 80 plus 10 minus 1, so total 89 samples you can observe here. This is a transmitting data, okay, and next, so you are receiving this data of 89 samples, okay, if there are 10 paths are there, 10 delays are there, okay, so the transmitted signal will be having 89 samples. So after receiving this, so what we are doing, we are removing the cyclic prefix data, okay, so from this we are removing the cyclic prefix data, okay, so after removing, okay, so where we have inserted the data points, we are identifying those. Okay, already the data is in the frequency domain. Okay, so where we have identified, we are assigned the data to carriers in those locations. That is 39 to 64 and 2 to 27. In these locations, we have assigned the data. So we are extracting those data points. Okay, and this is the data in the frequency domain. Okay, so from 39 to 64, there is last 26 data points in the frequency domain, and 2 to 27, the first 26 data points in the beginning. So these are the total 48 of the data points. Sorry, 26, 26, 52. So these are the 52 data points we are collecting. And similarly, so from this channel, okay, this channel, we are observing the channel in the frequency domain, and in these locations we are taking the channel coefficients 39 to 64 and 2 to 27 simply with the frequency domain equalization. The by kappa of k, that is the received signal, is equal to equalized signal is equal to y of k by h of k. Simply we are equalizing with this known channel frequency response. Okay, so y hat is equal to yk dot division, because we are performing a sample to sample division, dot slash hk. So this will be the equalized data. Okay, and after equalizing, we will perform demodulation. Okay, after performing demodulation, simple BPSK demodulation. Next, we will compare with the original transmitted data. Okay, so bit error rate, number of errors. Okay, we will calculate. Okay, so we will see the number of errors. NEER we can see in the workspace. Okay, in the workspace. Okay, zero errors. Zero errors means we know the channel very well, and the same channel is being used at the time of equalization. That's it. Okay, suppose if you don't know the channel, okay, and only with the help of pilots, you are trying to estimate the channel, and after estimating the channel, if you equalize, obviously you may get some errors. Okay, because we are equalizing with the same known channel. Okay, that is why you got number of errors at 0. Okay, so this is the spectrum of that transmitting signal. And even you can also see the PAPR calculation of the transmitting signal, because OFDM is suffering with the two major drawbacks, two major disadvantages. One is spectral leakage, okay, and another one is PAPR, high PAPR, because when you are applying IFFT, inverse fast Fourier transform, okay, automatically you may get a lot of peaks, because we are summing up all the carriers. If the phase matches or the similar phase carrier will give high peaks in the data stream. So those high peaks, okay, so this may leads to the nonlinear functioning of your transceiver circuits. Okay, so there should be very less PAPR. Okay, so PAPR can be calculated with this expression, that is peak power by average power. Okay, so the transmitting signal or whatever it is, transmitting signal. Okay, so we will calculate the peak power, okay, and average power. Peak power will be the maximum of the total entire power. If you calculate, that is a complex value data. Okay, so is real part and imaginary part. Okay, complex conjugate multiplication will give the power. Okay, the maximum of that will give the peak power. Okay, and if you calculate in dBs, that is the peak power in dB. And similarly, average power, the sum of that and number of samples. Okay, so that will give the average power. So the ratio of this power to average power will give the PAPR, peak power to average power ratio. Okay, so that should be minimized, because OFDM is suffering with this high PAPR due to its IFFT. Okay. However, all the multi-carrier communications should gone through this IFFT operation. Okay. So the phase match, similar phases in the carriers. Okay. So in the data stream, it may be produced high peaks. high peaks may be produced. So that may leads to nonlinear functioning of your transceiver for these devices. Okay. So in one thing is we have to stress, we have to point out only a spectral leakage, that is inefficient spectrum utilization also you can say. Because out of 64 subcarriers, we are utilizing only 48 for data transmission, and remaining all are being wasted, even though they are carrying some pilots or some unused carriers. Okay, the spectrum efficiency will be reduced, and as well as the PAPR also will be high PAPR. So all the next advanced waveforms which are trying to use in 5G communications, like UFMC and universal filtered multi-carrier, and FBMC, that is filter band multi-carrier, and filtered OFDM. So all will be working on all these waveforms, which will give the reduced PAPR and as well as what is this efficient spectrum utilization. Spectrum with less spectral leakage. Okay, these are the contenders for 5G. Filtered OFDM, DFT split OFDM, or filter bank multi-carrier, and UFMC, or universal filter bank multi-carrier. So there is a complexity and compatibility with 5G, and only the transmission of the wave is not sufficient for 5G. Okay, it is compatible with as we already discussed, 5G is not only with the data transmission, it should be support with IoT and all these things. It should be compatible with all these things. Okay, so now, the next session we are going to discuss about all this 5G waveform contenders, like BMC, filtered OFDM, and UFMC, all these things. Okay, so now these are all about basic OFDM, and if you see this. Yeah, this is the filtered OFDM. So small modification will be there for general OFDM. Only the filtering will be used here. However, we are going to discuss about all these things, because what is the problem with the conventional OFDM is we are limiting the data with the rectangular function. Okay, and here we have used a separate filter after the D2A converter, which will attenuate the spreading of the spectrum into other bands. Okay, so that is the one modification in the OFDM, and similarly filter bank multi-carrier and UFMC. Okay, and this is the comparative table. Okay, so data lengths and compatibility with IoT, outband emission, how much of outband emission is there with OFDM and OFDM and DMC, UFMC. Yeah, the suggested recommended modulation scheme. Okay, and all these things you can observe. Okay, we will discuss or we will implement in the next laboratory session. Yeah, so these are all about basic OFDM system design. With the standard, that is the Wi-Fi LAN 802.11a. Okay, yeah. Now. Coming to the query session, if you have any queries, I think you have already downloaded all these programs. If you have practiced that program, if you are getting any errors, you can bring it to the notice. Please. Can I stop sharing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please, sir. If you have any queries to ask, you can ask, please. Okay, are you all able to access the files which I have uploaded? Okay, better sir, I suggest for the next session, even though if you are unable to work with MATLAB, you're not installed in your MATLAB, I suggest you to work with online MATLAB. Okay, if you have an account with MathWorks, okay, you can work. Yeah.
How we can do the cloud processing of MATLAB?
Yeah, sir. In MathWorks, you have a facility for that. You can use MATLAB online. You can use MATLAB online with your account. If you have an account with MATLAB, you can register for that. Okay, you can access for that. You can use MATLAB online, but due to the speed of your network, it will take some time. Okay, better the hands-on sessions are will work only whenever I'm doing the program here at the same time. If you are doing the same, then it will work. Okay, sir. I hope I delivered all the points regarding to the basic OFDM system and its implementation in MATLAB. And if you have any queries, you can ask, please. Otherwise, we will wind up the session. Okay, sir. Thank you for your patience. Closing this meeting. Yeah. So all you may leave now, please.